Hey, it's Armand. Today we've got our 1980 Honda Goldwing GL 1100 Interstate, and I finally got the part that I've been waiting forever on. So when you take this back tire off, this back rim off, and you really don't know what you're doing, and you go to take the bearings out, and you don't know that there's a hub that goes over the bearing, just looks like the bearing sitting there, you end up destroying the bearing housing. I got the old bearing out, and that's what it looks like. Pretty bad. Come look. I got the new bearing in, and this is how I did it. I used a heat gun for like 20-30 minutes. I used motor oil inside there because I knew it wouldn't burn. And I put the bearing inside the freezer for about 30-35 minutes. And then I brought it out here, and it was already lubed up with that motor oil. And I took this. Now the thing about this right here, and pay attention because this is important. This has to be the same diameter as the outside of the bearing. You cannot beat on the inside of the bearing, on the inside of this. You don't want it hitting those balls, and you don't want it hitting this inner sleeve. Because if you do, you're gonna jack up your bearings, and they won't be good. Because those things in there, they turn every which way, you know. So now I've got it in there. I've got it seated good, and you can tell by looking on the other side. So the part that I've been waiting for is this. This is the bearing hub housing. I got it. So I got the bearing in there. The keeper, I don't know. This rubber piece, it goes in there like this. The channel faces down. Now you need a special tool to get this out. And what I was able to do was, with a little American ingenuity, came up with something. So we'll get this started. Oh, and by the way, this goes facing up. It goes in like this. Am I moving too fast for you? So now we're gonna get this in here, okay? As far as we can, until we can't move it no more by hand. Then what I've done is I've got a pair of dikes, and it's in channel locks, and I set it to fit right there just like that. And then what I'll do is I'll finish torquing this down with these so I don't do any more damage. You can back up a little bit, just kind of ease it in there. Use a little lube on this. So the bearing is internally lubricated. So on these bearings inside the hubs, you do not need to use any bearing grease or anything like that. We almost got it. I'm sure you could order the socket with all 4 lugs that sit inside this bearing housing for some exorbitant amount of money, or you could just do like I'm doing here. Now I'm gonna get this tight as I can, as I'm sure and I think that might be good. And then after I do this, there we go.
Scratched it a bit.
That's all right. It'll live. And there we go. Look at that. The bearing is nice. And all I got to do now is drop the other one in. The other ones, you don't need to go pounding and freezing and burning and all the other stuff. This bearing right here, look at me. The bearing, I can't remember what it's called. It's just a bigger bearing that goes on this one side. The other bearing is smaller, as you can see the size difference, and it just drops in on the other side. Just drops down inside there. Let's get that done. Nice and clean in there. Okay. So it doesn't just drop down inside there. I was wrong. We're gonna have to beat it on in there too, but that's okay because I got the right size pipe. That's what she said. Where'd the hammer go? Ray, do you see the hammer around you? Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, so get that on there.
As you can see, it shakes everything.
There we go. Look at that. Ding. That is beautiful. Now this son bitch, this son of a gun is done. Now one thing you might want to check out when you're here, I don't know if you can you see inside here? Can you? These little rubber things, they're what catch the torque when you gas it, when you max wrist it, or when you pin it, whatever you want to say, whatever part of the country you're from. These little rubber things right here, they give you a little shock. So you might want to check these and make sure that they're seated in good and they're not wore out.
They're not.
The guy that drove this bike was old and he probably never gunned it. But then again, when that country western star had it, he probably was always gunning it. So that's all for now, folks. I love you. God bless. Remember to love your neighbor. And remember to subscribe. Share. Get me out there.
Share the love.
Get me out there. And I don't mind doing shout outs. I don't mind prostituting myself. Whatever it takes, people. I love you. And God bless.
Bye.